good friend, colleague, and historic drinking buddy, Paul Kirschbaum. I'm Leslie Wooten. It is 10:33 p.m. Let's get into it. And by get into it, let's have some drinks, man. Let's go. Like, one thing, Paul, you and I constantly do is we banter before and after our episodes, and there's so many times that I swear one of us is like, "Did you record that? That was hilarious." Like, and it might just be us thinking that we're hilarious, but either way, let's get it recorded. So 10:33 p.m. came from that, and today's episode, whatever the hell it means, topic: beer.
Yep. And all we had was we picked 3 beers and then come to it. One, like a lighter beer and an IPA-ish beer and a darker beer. You know, I know where you're going to go and you probably know where I'm going to go. And just talk beer, stuff, industry. There's no rules on this one. We didn't make an agenda. I don't know where it's going to go.
The goal is to talk about beer. And one thing that happened as I was getting the beers is not only as I was grabbing, I need something light, I need an IPA, I need a stout, is as I was getting them, like, oh man, memories. Like, because I knew I was going to be talking about the beer, I'm like, I can't tell that story. I can tell that story. Okay, I might be able to tell that story, but who knows what story I'm going to tell by the time we get to the dark beers.
Yeah, we can tell a few stories, but there's some that we're not allowed to.
Man.
Basically, that time you came to New York, we can't talk about any of that.
None of that. We can say that resulted in that time I came to New York with you, because you were there, came to visit.
Yep.
That time did result in me getting a spinal fusion, C6, C7 spinal fusion.
I had to carry the bag to Penn Station because I live right next to Penn. I had to carry the bag there. Then you missed the stop. You went past Newark stop. You went to, I don't know where you went, and then you had to turn back around on the train and come back to get on. Barely, almost missed your flight.
I found a good doctor.
Didn't you trade a shirt in the middle of a bar with some guy?
I did. So here's what happened there. We were at a bar in the middle of the day, and you knew the bartender. And so I got the little clicker thing that got us free credits on the jukebox.
Yeah.
And she just handed it to me, so I went crazy with it because we'd been drinking already. And I went over to the jukebox, and I started selecting everything. And I came back, and I had a pint glass there filled up. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. And so I just started drinking it. And that guy at the end of the counter said, "How are you doing that?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, he put vodka in that. I'm like, the whole thing? He's like, "Yeah, that's just a glass of vodka." I'm like, "Oh." So I finished about half of it because that's when I could start tasting it. I was like, "Can I have a water?" And that's how our day began, is that you convinced them to get me a glass of water. And so that guy sitting there was having a quick drink on his break from Hill Country Barbecue.
Barbecue, right across the street.
And I'm from Austin, Texas, and that's the Hill Country. And so I was like, Hill Country Barbecue, is that in Austin? He's like, no, it's over here. Like, I work there. What are you talking about?
No, let's stop that really quick, though. He was on his break drinking.
Yeah. And so what I wanted was his shirt.
Yes.
And so
I remember this. You're wearing the Sprite shirt.
Yeah, I'll give you the Sprite shirt for that shirt. He's like, I got to go back to work. I'm like, you're drinking on your break. You don't care. He's like, you're right. We switched shirts, and I went home with a red Hill Country server's shirt, and he had my Sprite shirt, and I don't know what happened after that. Yeah. Well, I know what happened with us. I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, that was a good day. All right. Well, hey, let's get into beer.
I want to know what you're drinking. First.
So I know we said lager at first, and I actually had a lager in my hand, and then I walked by one of my favorite breweries. I'm not trying to plug anybody's. I live in Maine, so we do the best beer.
Wow, I'm about to plug so many people on what I'm drinking. Go ahead.
I know. So, and there was a Kolsch. I'm like, I don't like Kolsch's that come out of America. Most of them I don't like at all. They're good, but the one that comes from Orono is awesome. And luckily, I even have a glass because I used to
look at
run
you.
bars.
Sure.
So I grabbed it. I was like, maybe I could talk about this because everybody thinks this is like a light beer lager, and it's complete. It's actually an ale. It's not even a lager. It's an ale. It's top fermented. So lagering is very difficult, by the way, guys. The reason why you don't see a lot of lagers out there is you can't hide mistakes. IPAs, you can hide mistakes all day long. I mean, if a company just brews IPA, they need to go like to Germany to learn how to lager. It's not easy. It is very, very difficult. So that's what I'm drinking. I'm drinking a Kolsch from Orono Brewing Company here up in Orono near the University of Maine.
Fantastic. So I've got Franz Connor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I had that on tap in one of the restaurants.
So Franz Connor, and I've got two stories here because I've got Franz Connor. Why I picked a Franz Connor? It's actually pretty meaningful to me. And I've got a glass from my favorite bar in Austin, Texas, Don's Depot. And if you've been to Don's Depot, it's an old train car, and the whole bar's inside of it. So
that's awesome.
Don's Depot is the only bar I've ever, fortunately, let's see how my pour is.
Not bad. Not a lot of head, but cheers, brother.
Cheers, brother. Cheers.
Oh, that's good beer.
Banana-y Hefeweizen, like that's solid. That's
funny. I have a kegerator in my basement, and the reason I got it, a restaurant gave it to me, and then I have an old tower, and I wish I'd brought it. I mean, I don't want to drag the camera over there, but
yeah,
tower is one of those sexy German towers. It came out of one of my dad's from Germany, born and raised.
Right. Still got the accent. That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, he became American citizen like 5 years ago. He traveled the world, so it was easier to travel with a German passport.
He makes shoes, right?
Yeah. He was. I think he was in like made the molds and all that stuff. I mean, he didn't like physically make them anymore, but
he's part of shoemaking,
so
right? Like I'm part of opening restaurants, but I don't do anything.
But my cousins had exactly. Thanks. My cousins had a restaurant in the hometown where my dad was born. They actually, his brother lived in the house that my dad was born in. So they gave me when they sold the place, they gave my dad, because he was an investor, the sexy tower. So I have a green sexy tower that I got converted over to American stuff, and then somebody gave me a kegerator, and so I don't know where the story is going, but I have a kegerator. I totally forgot. I totally forgot where I was going. I have a sexy tower.
Perfect. That's funny.
Yeah. And I'm not a beer snob. It's funny. People are like, I won't drink that. Okay. I hate Rolling Rock. Rolling Rock is the crappiest beer I've ever had in my life. Next to, what was that one? I don't remember it so bad. Now, there is no beer that I would say no to. If I was stuck on an island and somebody gave me, I didn't pay for this, somebody gave me a beer, I would not drink it.
So how about this scenario, which is far closer to home, and I'm going to totally agree. You're floating the river on a tube in the Texas sun, and some random group floats by you and like, hey, bud, beer, and they throw any beer in the world. Aren't you going to catch it and drink it?
Absolutely. And say thank you.
And say thank you, 100%.
Yes. I people like, I won't. Now, I won't pay for any beer.
Sure.
But if somebody threw me a Rolling Rock and said, hey, you want a beer? And I don't have any beer, yes. And thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, yeah. I'm floating the river. I don't care what you throw me. Throw me a Michelob Ultra. I'm going to grab it.
You're saying floating the river. I'm walking to my mailbox. You run up with a Smirnoff Ice and throw it to me and go, you won't want them to go, yes!
So you say Smirnoff Ice, and so here's a place where you and I might not agree. Is I won't chug things. I won't do shots. I won't chug beer. I won't shotgun a beer. I just can't. I won't. It's not appealing to me. But I think you can attest to this. I will drink all day long and hang out. I don't have any problem with that. So it's not the quantity, it's the speed of it.
No, I drink fast in general. I eat fast too.
I drink fast. I could down this, but I'm not going to Chug it.
I shotgunned a beer for the first time since college. I don't know. We were just, I think me and like, you remember my friend Sheets, and I think we were
Yeah.
talking about something. I was like, I think shotgun a beer for her. He's like, let's shotgun a beer. I'm like, all right. Sure, why not? I mean, I've done it so long. I tried it. I made a mess, but I did it. But yeah, it's just, to me, it's I'm not gonna do a kickstand. I'm not gonna do any of that stuff. I'll take a shot. I will do that. That's something I have no problem. If it's, I'm not gonna do like a fireball, but I'll do like if you had a
Jameson.
Yeah. I mean, I named my
But
daughter after.
here's the thing. It's not that I don't want the shot of Jameson. I don't want to drink it fast.
And when I take a shot, depending, as I've gotten older, I kind of I sip it.
Yeah.
Now I sip it twice.
I'm not going to take long.
I'm not going to I'll sip it. I mean, like up in Maine, we have nips, and sometimes I'm traveling and we'll get to a place, and my aunt has a place up north, and we're on vacation, and we'll be stopping to grab a 6-pack of beer or whatever, some ice and maybe some stuff, and we'll have some nips. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll take give me 2 Jamesons, and I'll even sip on that. I'm not going to I like to sip on it. I mean, I like the flavor of a good bourbon, a good whiskey.
100%.
Not a Scotch guy, but I understand why people are. I get it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to, but again, I'm not going to sip on vodka.
I will. I absolutely will.
I've seen you do it, and that's where we had a picture of you. That's why your back had to get surgery.
Vodka's my favorite. And you know what's even worse is, and I was going to talk about this once we got to our dark beer, but since you're talking about sipping on vodka, is I don't always order a vodka back. And so I'd get my beer with the vodka back. And it's like, what kind? I'm like, well, because I want to taste it. Any smooth vodka, I don't think is made well.
Ooh. Have you ever had Kaufman's?
I don't know.
So back when I was, this is my 20s, I was a private chef, and one of my clients, you can get it now, but at the time you couldn't get it. You could get like maybe just in New York City. It's $300 for a 750 ml, and this was at least 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That vodka was amazing. It had a box that folded open. But it is so smooth. And I guess I'm
going to correct myself. Go ahead.
It's smooth. I think it was a potato vodka, so it had a flavor, but it was a lot of flavor, but it was smooth. It wasn't like Belvedere and all that, like where it's just like you feel like you're not drinking. Like it's danger. You put that in juice. Some people might not even know, but it tastes. It's almost like you're just drinking rubbing alcohol. I like Tito's. That's all I got to say on that.
I'll go. If I was gifted Tito's because I'm from Austin, it'll go in my freezer and I will drink it. But I will never pay for Tito's because I'm from Austin and we knew the man. Like we'll not support that. No.
Okay.
So I misspoke when I said a good or a smooth vodka is not well made. I completely misspoke. One, I agree with you that a smooth vodka is dangerous. But I will not go into the craftsmanship of that. What I meant was a smooth gin is not well made, because if you know the processes of gin and vodka, they're very similar, except at one point the botanicals are entered into the process of vodka, so that it is vodka with botanicals and juniper and all the flavors in there. And so if you're making a gin that tastes smooth, I would argue all day long.
That out.
You didn't make gin. You made vodka.
Well, but let's be honest.
That's where my head was, and I was wrong.
But let's be flat honest about it. Gin is still made with juniper berries. Vodka is not made with potatoes anymore.
Well, but it can't. So vodka can be made with what? Potatoes. Polar Ice was the house vodka that I had in my freezer for way too long. That was a potato vodka.
Yeah. I don't know enough about vodka where I could even. I'm not even speaking like I know this stuff.
But we're talking about beer.
But we're talking about beer anyway. If I'm gonna have a backer, it's not gonna be vodka. And there's nothing against you. Yeah. Like mine would be a whiskey, and there's some cheap whiskeys out there that are damn good. They're not bad. I mean, if they do certain things, you have to use especially the ones that come from different countries that have laws. Like they have to do this no matter what.
Yeah.
Like bourbon, everybody's like, well, bourbon needs to become from Kentucky. No, it doesn't. It just needs to be 51% corn. Just all it has to be.
So it's
We need to do one on liquor next time. Our next one's liquor.
Damn right. Yeah. I'm in. How's your beer? What do you got there? Tell me about it.
This Kolsch is good. So these guys, and
Malty?
Portland. No, it's well balanced. It's an ale, 4.7% alcohol, crisp. I'm reading from the can. Crisp, light, and refreshing. It's
So why does my head go malt when I think Kolsch?
No, I mean it's soft malt. Well, it says here soft malt profile with pleasant depth and flavor despite simplicity. I mean, it's basically off of a Pils, but Pils could lager. I mean, but it's just not done the same way. I mean, like from what I've done. I mean, we could probably call whatever, but I mean, the only thing I do not like is I hate the IPLs. You want to get me going? Have you heard of this IPL crap?
Additional pale lager?
Yes. I was like,
really?
I'm sorry. Did they give lagers to the IPL to the troops in India? Is that how they came up with this?
Right. And when we get to our next drink, we should tell that story. Yeah.
Making shit up. Yeah, our next drink we'll talk about that story. But no, Kolsch, it's a good beer. I just like what they do, and it's my favorite domestic Kolsch I've ever had. Sure, there might be one better out there. Don't kill me for that, but
you'll drink that too, no problem.
Yeah, I'll pay for it probably.
Yeah,
at least the first time.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I'll pay for the first time. Just don't give me a second time.
That reminds me of I was in where was I? Richmond, Virginia, and the restaurant that we kept going to that was near our hotel. Got to know the staff, got to know the different bartenders from brunch to breakfast to everything. And at one point, I was there in the evening, and the bartender's like, "Hey, man, we're doing $1 for this beer." I'm like, "Why?" They're like, "Because it's bad, and we got to move it so that we can get it out." And everybody here is mad about it, but I'm like, one, thanks for your honesty, because I'm sure that they were moving it on other people. And two, I'll absolutely get it in addition to what else I had. So I drank $1 beer that was one of the worst I ever had. And he's like, "How is it?" I'm like, "It's terrible." He's like, "You don't have to finish it." I'm like, I'm not gonna hand it back. It's not like it was still
your bed.
beer.
You made your bed.
And I'm helping the cause.
I remember the bad beer. It's called Golden Anniversary. I was up in Lake Charles, New York, and we were fishing. We threw the beer in the water while we did it. Man, that beer was bad. Like I like it was not. I mean, I would drink it again if I was given to me for free. Let me be honest, but it was bad.
Do you remember your first beer?
Yes, I do. I do. I stole out of
Does it exist? Does it still exist?
The first beer I ever had, or the first beer I gotten drunk on, or the first beer that my parents. You understand? My dad's German. The first beer I had, I was I was in Boston in 5th grade. It was a pull top from Brazil. Okay, that's the first beer I ever had. That my dad, I had a sip, and then he had to take it away from me because I just wanted to drink the whole thing. The first beer I had without them knowing was, I think, Halloween, and I was either in 7th or 8th grade. I took it out of the refrigerator when I went to go meet my friends. I don't remember what that. I think yes, I do. It was a Beck's. It was a Beck's. That does exist. And then the first time I got drunk on a beer was, I think, freshman year in high school, and it was Bud Light Ice.
No, I think that's just Bud Ice. I don't think they have a Bud Light Ice. I remember that.
No, they had Bud Light Ice.
No,
there were two different versions.
Nope, it's not a thing.
Damn it!
You're a
I'm
liar.
gonna Google it and prove it and send you a picture.
If you have it, like, insert the picture of it right here on the photo, like I'm holding one, because it doesn't exist. It's just Bud Ice. Bud Light Ice is even worse.
There's Bud Light Ice. It was a light, because we love Bud Light in Texas. But yeah, that was, what was yours?
So my family, although technically German, was not from Germany, and we did not have any drinking traditions whatsoever. In fact, I was late 20s when I had a bottle of Bud Light Ice. No, that's Bud Ice, brother.
Bud, ice, read the below the ice.
You got to get a better camera. No, I can't read anything. Nope. Nope.
Come on, zoom in. There it is. There it is. There it is.
Oh, that's a joke. That's like
All right,
clear.
sorry, go ahead. I apologize for interrupting, but I had to prove it.
I think we've interrupted each other the entire time we've been talking.
Yeah.
I told like 3 half stories. I hope somebody calls me out like, finish this, and I'll go back and finish them all. The first beer I had, because we did not have beer in our house, I had wine one time at Thanksgiving 12 years ago, and my mother cried. I was like, I'm having wine out of a coffee cup during things like it was, yeah, like drinking alcohol was not okay in my house. So Abilene, Texas, one of the brightest spots on the Bible Belt, probably the biggest rhinestone on the Bible Belt. I remember my cousin and I paying somebody to go buy us beer.
Oh, hey, mister.
Yeah. And they came back with Red Dog.
Dude, I was literally about to say that. Like, do you remember Red Dog? It was like a 4-year window that existed. That was your first beer, was Red Dog?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that was anywhere else but Texas. Like, who made that?
I don't know. You got Google right there. Check that out. Yeah. Red Dog was the first one. Yeah. And it was my introduction to beer. And
I'm sorry.
It made me want to do handstands. That night turned into handstands. I don't know what handstands. And I remember at one point, because not only was the first beer, but got drunk on it too. I remember at one point, I was screaming for my cousin to come help me because I'd fallen into the toilet. And I remember, like, I'm in the toilet, and he came out, and he's like, get out of the tub. And I was just in the bathtub. But I thought I was in the toilet. So I don't know. I don't remember how old I was, but I was not of age at all.
That was like, they came in 30 packs. That's how they were sold.
I'm sure that's what we had.
But do you remember this? And I'm not, other than the people I went to high school with, we didn't go to high school together. But we both, you know, I spent time in Texas. I grew up in Texas, but the first beer I had was Wayland, Massachusetts. You know what I mean? So I've been all over. But
yeah, I'm born and raised Texas, yeah.
Do you remember, I was born in North Carolina. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that, no.
Do you remember Miller Red? When Miller tried to like compete with Budweiser, and it's Miller Red.
No.
Yeah, well, I remember that. We had that. That was like one summer. I'd say junior year, sophomore, junior year of high school. We drank a lot of beer. I think I drank more beer in high school than I did in college. And I went to culinary school.
Right.
I felt like I was babysitting in culinary school because people. I mean, I don't know which one's better, drinking in high school or college. But at least by college, I was like, no, you should get in the car. That's not a good idea. So, all right, next beer. Just moving on.
Oh, really? Oh, all right. So I've got my Franz Connor, which is a shout out in my world to Victory Park in Dallas, because they gave me this every time I walked in. And Don's Depot is my shout out to the best bar in Austin. So, awesome. But Don's Depot is the only bar I've ever been at. When I left one night, the bartender followed me out like, I'm going to take your keys and call your boss. And she called my boss to come pick me up because she wasn't letting me drive home.
That's a good bar.
Oh,
that is when they take care of you. My shout out is obviously, Orono Brewing. I know people love the Bissell Brothers, and I do. They're amazing beer. And there's 1,000 good beer companies here. This one, the Brewer Ace, that team, they're the bomb. They are. Not only that, they're good people. Like, really good. Abe is one of the guys that I've probably dealt with for years. Probably one of the nicest guys. I told my wife, like, seriously, meet this guy. Please don't leave me for him. So.
And I won't leave you for him either.
Yeah. I might have used other words, but all right. So I gotta get a bottle opener. Man, I need a lighter.
Poor planning. Come on.
Oh no, I travel. Remember, I travel for a living, and I like wine. I know I at least have a wine thing with my. Hope nobody.